No! All Might, please no! Does this mean that All Might's dead? Okay, so spoilers are back and Horikoshi is once again bringing the fire this week, but it also might be a very tragic chapter at the same time because we might be losing a certain character. I don't know, let's get into it. The title is They Are Here. Some low-tier villains are attacking what seems to be a department store, screaming and shooting at Endeavor. He notices one of them is using a nail gun support item and immediately associates it to Detnarat. That's the company that Redestro runs, blaming them for making items way stronger than they're supposed to be. Endeavor hits the villain with a new technique called Ignited Arrow on the ground. The man yells at him saying he's the one to blame for all of this, to which he responds, "That's exactly why I'm on the streets." So first of all, once again, we're seeing these Detnarat support items come into play, and since the war arc has ended, I guess it's been heavily implied that civilians as well have been using these items. So considering that this is like a recurring thing at this point, it's going to lead to something much bigger and more important. Endeavor hands the villains to the police and goes to meet Genus, who says that once again the villains had no connection to Shigaraki and All for One. While they're talking, a large group of people is protesting with signs that say, "We don't need fake heroes." They're calling the top three gods of the plague and saying that if they managed to capture Shigaraki in the first place, there would be no jailbreakers to worry about. They also say that the media has been presenting the idea of Shigaraki's target being someone else, so that means Endeavor is lying to them once again. As Endeavor goes back to the car, the protesters call him a coward and ask him if he saw the families of the people Dabi burned on the TV. So yeah, the natural reaction, I'm sure, is to be bothered by this. But I can't help but think that the public would probably have like a similar reaction to this, like in real life, especially given the way things are with social media and everything. So I'm not really surprised the public is having a reception like this. Inside the car, Hawks is on the phone with Edgeshot, talking about the investigation on the Paranormal Liberation Front, which apparently isn't going too well. Hawks then asks Endeavor if they should start operating in a distance of 1 to 2 kilometers from Deku and All Might, since if the people discover about their connection, things will get even rougher for them. Endeavor agrees to take some distance because he doesn't want to put more stress on Deku. He also comments they've been using him as bait to lure the League of Villains, but they're yet to make any move. That raises the question of what the real plan even is, because the top three thought All for One would give specific orders to the jailbreakers as a way to spread chaos across society, while he would go after Deku to steal One for All. Since the heroes are weakened and no one would be able to stop him, but since that has not been the case, they think it's safe to assume that Deku is right and All for One is too busy preparing to take full control of Shigaraki's body. The narration continued, saying that the body takeover is currently All for One's priority because he couldn't live without his tubes ever since his defeat against All Might. But Shigaraki was awake before his body was completed, and although they still don't know the details on how the takeover process goes, the completion of Shigaraki's body seemed to be the main condition for the takeover to happen. So I guess what's happening here is that Izuku is catching the top three heroes up to speed on what exactly is going on with All for One and Shigaraki, and just the ultimate goal of the villains, I suppose. Because Izuku was able to put this all together within the Vestige world, talking to the Vestiges. And up until a couple chapters ago, like 99% of the cast was like in the dark about all of this stuff. Endeavor added that after the completion and the takeover, they will aim to retrieve One for All from Deku. Hawks said that All Might and Deku told them that in order to absorb One for All, Shigaraki and One for All will need a strong young body, which Shigaraki has. But he still couldn't fathom about the part where they needed hatred to absorb One for All. Genus said that it's probably to be able to surpass the will of 8 people inside One for All so they can control the power. Hawks then argued again that All for One should despise those successors more than anything because they chased after his little brother from generation to generation, but those successors got in his way. Genus guessed that maybe it's not enough, but Hawks said that maybe All for One doesn't have any hatred because he seemed to always smile, so it could be that All for One has no heart. But yeah, this is pretty much the plan here. All for One's body was wrecked by All Might, so he needed a new vessel in Shigaraki, so he brought Shigaraki up from being like a 5-year-old kid and bred him to have this super tragic backstory so that he would have this intense, crazy hatred within him strong enough to be able to bypass the fail-safe mechanism of One For All. Like I said before, this was established by the Vestiges a couple chapters back, but also Shigaraki being augmented and becoming plus Ultra Shigaraki is killing two birds with one stone for All For One here. He's getting the crazy hatred that will bypass the will of One For All and the Vestiges, but also getting new hardware to support his software. And I guess Hawks is saying here that All For One is like such a far gone psychopath that he's not even capable of having like intense hatred. They continued their conversation, and then the scene changed to All Might watching Deku on the monitor in his car, when suddenly Deku was gone from the radar. At the same time, something that looked like a grenade was thrown towards All Might's car, and in the next panel his car blew up. No! All Might, please no! Does this mean that All Might's dead? I mean clearly you don't know yet. There's very little panels that are available at this point, or at least as far as I've been able to see. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is like some crazy red herring. But at the same time, this could be how All Might died, which is certainly a big surprise. Not because All Might's dying, you know, a lot of us expected this. It's kind of been hammered to death at this point that it's a very big possibility. But we just assumed it was going to be from Shigaraki, and if not Shigaraki, then All For One, but certainly not this. Just some new villain who you would never expect to even meet All Might, let alone just straight up kill him with a grenade blowing up his car. If this is the death of All Might, I'm not gonna be mad at it. I'm gonna be upset. All Might's my favorite character and it sucks to see him go, but I wouldn't be mad at it simply because it's such a surprise and very different than from what I thought. And I guess subverting our expectations is a good thing in this case. And like I've said before, I really wouldn't have been surprised if All Might died when we least expected it, and this is certainly when we least expected it, I guess, right? I'm still holding out though. I'm not 100% sure that he is dead, but it's certainly a good possibility right now. But at the same time, if he does survive this, then he will only live on to likely be killed by Shigaraki anyway. In the next scene, something attacked Deku's phone, and we saw the Tartarus lady with a cannon-like thing coming out of her elbow. She said, "Green boy, I'm gonna take you with me. If you comply, I'll let you keep your arms and legs." End of chapter. So yeah, the new nameless female villain is back, and we're seeing like a glimpse of what her quirk could be. Not really sure what's going on. Like it says here, she has like her arm like this, and like her elbow opens up, and like this cyberpunk mechanical organic type sniper rifle thing is coming out of it. So either her quirk is just like this very specific like elbow cannon gun thing, or she has like a quirk similar to like Baby 5 from One Piece where she could just create weapons. I would say it's maybe more so the former here, just because of how specific this like weapon thing coming out of her elbow looks. But yeah, I guess this means that she is in fact in cahoots with All For One at this point, which was I guess more or less implied coming out of chapter 298, and we're probably gonna get some kind of fight between her and Izuku in the next chapter. Or maybe Izuku goes willingly with her to get closer to All For One / Shigaraki. Not sure, but let me know what you think about these spoilers in the comments, guys. If you liked the video, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.